I have to thank a lot to the organizers of E.A.T to invite us for the 10th anniversary. It's really an honor. I'm Rainer Opoku. I'm co-founder of Parley, and I'm in our organization responsible for the art-related projects we do. I have to jump in for Cyrill, unfortunately, who is the CEO and founder of Parley. He really regrets to not being here, but he wants to be part of it, so he's sending us his speech, which we're all going to see now. Afterwards, I go into some other topics.
Hey there, hi. My name is Cyrill. I'm in New York, far away from you, unfortunately, and I'm extremely grateful for the invitation and apologize for not being there in person. But I'm gonna try to share my thoughts so you pretty much get the best of me. I would just eat up some resources and your food and occupy a hotel room. So just see this as a little inspiration and contribution, please, to your day. Silence. There are two forms of silence for me that come to mind. One is this happy moment of mindfulness where you melt into your environment, you observe yourself taking a breath and notice everything. This little ray of sun, this little animal that swims by and stops and looks at you so curious. This one thought. Silence can be the most inspiring moment where you feel alive. But then silence has this other side, this shadowy side, where it's a witness of death. Where creatures are not around you, where something is broken, something cracked, something is missing. Life. And unfortunately, these places where you experience that silence become bigger and bigger. They grow in rapid speed. And when you jumped into the waters 10 years ago in a place and you were surrounded with all this life, this beauty, this magic color spectrum, and you revisit that place and there's only destruction, there are ruins underwater, there's a war zone where you don't even find the color anymore. Everything is gray or dead. That's the saddest form of silence I know. But the oceans in general are a place where you can find your silence, in the good or in the bad. And the oceans are, even if they feel so removed and so far away from our everyday life, they're this life-giving ecosystem, the lifeblood of our planet really, that allow us human to be here. 3 breaths out of 4 are generated by creatures in the sea. That's one single fact, one reason why we should care. Even if we are not divers, even if we don't own a yacht, even if we don't love animals, appreciate life underwater, even if we never built that relationship to these magic creatures. The oceans give us life. They provide most of the air we breathe. We started Parley in 2012 and it was an accident. It came to us, we fell into the sea, and it started with a guy, Captain Paul Watson, a legendary ocean conservationist, a pirate really, a person that runs a big private fleet and chases the bad guys, sinks whaling boats and puts himself in front of these big majestic animals. A person that is seen as a controversial warrior out there, doing the job we all should do. This guy got arrested at the airport in Frankfurt, the city I was born in. And I learned about that at Art Basel, in Basel, not in Miami, in Basel. So, actually at the Bayer Foundation, at a Jeff Koons exhibition, because Pamela Anderson was wearing a black t-shirt with a Sea Shepherd logo on it. And I asked her, oh, how are you related to these guys? And she said to me, Paul, the founder of Sea Shepherd, he got arrested in Germany, in Frankfurt, and you're German, you should help him. 2 days later, I was sitting in front of him in this little law firm in Frankfurt and learned about the sea. From a guy that looked like a pirate version of Santa Claus. A man that dedicated his life since he's 13 years old to protect animals from our killing. In that meeting, I learned how important the sea are for us. And I learned something more important, that the oceans are about to die. Actually, he predicted, based on a study that was done by two marine biologists, Boris Worm and Ben Halpern, that by 2048, most of the animals, most of the fish that we know out there, that we are so familiar with, that is part of every menu in a restaurant or a supermarket, these fish would be depleted, they would be gone, they would be diminished, they would be driven into extinction. Sitting there, June 16, 2012, and understanding that there's something so big happening. And I went to the bathroom and Googled it, and it was actually all over the place. If you were looking for it, the studies were there, endorsed by the United Nations. It was not even in question. So I was sitting there and I realized in 36 years out, the oceans would be dead, and that would be the result, the product of my generation. That would be our legacy of death. So I went back to Paul after taking a breath outside the room and calling my partner in New York. I went back into the room and said, listen, we're going to help you. We're going to help you to get out of the situation, out of prison in Germany, and we're going to campaign for you. But out of this, something way bigger happened. We started Parley for the Oceans. And to be very honest, we had no plan. We had no concept. We had no knowledge, really. We just knew one thing, that if we can do something to stop this massive destruction, if we can do anything to contribute, to slow it down, then that is worth every effort we're taking. So, June 16, 2012, our company transformed into an environmental organization. And Parley, the name, came from its meaning, a negotiation of peace. A negotiation between mankind and the sea. This moment where opponents sit at a table and unite. And ideas being that table. Thoughts being that table. But even economic interests being that table. Because what we also learned very quickly is that you can't protect the oceans, the environment, by giving back. We shouldn't take it in the first place. It's our economy, really. It's the design of our economy that drives destruction, that is causing all these environmental issues we are facing. And when you think it through, then it's actually not even the economy. It's the design of the materials, the products that industries are selling. And that brings us back to ourselves, to the creative industry, to the creator, to the inventor, to the scientist, to the artist. It's us who create all these ideas. It's us who delivers the raw material of capitalistic systems, economic systems. And therefore, we, the creative industry, have to own the responsibility of the environmental movement. We have to own the problem. We have to inspire and we have to empower. And we have to show what could be tomorrow instead of criticizing what is today. Because human, we always want to move forward. We always want to innovate. We want to create. We don't want to stand still and be sustainable and wait something out. No. We are inspired by the impossible mission. And right now, the impossible mission is to stop the seemingly unstoppable train of destruction. But there's something very positive about it, because we created all these problems, we created all these technologies, all these toxic materials, all these methods, we created all these ideas of how we can eat up this planet. So why wouldn't we not be able to create solutions or create a new generation of materials? And that's why we at Parley we declared in 2018 the material revolution, focusing on 3 different aspects: climate change, plastic pollution, and overfishing. Plastic pollution is what we're known for. We have campaigned since 2012 because we felt that plastic is such an obvious problem, such a poster boy for this toxic age we created, that everybody would at some point understand it if we just persist enough. And today, plastic is the big evil, the antichrist of the environmental movement. But there is a big brother to that, and that's climate change. Which means, again, materials that we choose to use, burning fossil fuels, eating meat. These are choices we have as designers, as consumers, as companies. And our role at Parley is to drive change in the sense of, first, igniting these ideas, encouraging to question the status quo, and actually gathering people, connecting people, building this collaboration network of experts, of people that are willing to buy something different, people that are willing to invest into something different, artists, designers, scientists who are dedicating their time to create. And we believe in that power of imagination. We believe in that skill that human has. We believe in human, actually. If a species has such a force, such an influence on such a huge rock like planet Earth, there's nothing we can't do. Everything is possible. We're just running out of time. And at this point, I would say that art has this extremely important role to play. Because on one side, it's this place where everything is possible. The artist as a person connects, has this universal language, and can address people in a way probably nobody else in society can, because you are going to an artist, you're going into a place of art, you're exposing yourself to art with an expectation, the expectation to be blown away, the expectation to be criticized, embarrassed, or at least disturbed, or pleased. But you don't go there just to be sustainable or in peace, in silence. You go there to be confronted. And therefore, art and the artist and spaces of art are for Parley the core and center of everything we do. And the first Parley took place at an artist's home. The logo was painted by an artist. And now artists help us. They open doors. They give us access to their best people. They give us ideas. They share thoughts. They test materials. They donate artworks. They create spaces and places with us. And there are 3 projects that I would like to mention at this point. And one is our ongoing series of artist editions. Surfboards so far. The first was done by E.A.T. The second one by Katarina Crosse. And these pieces, they sold quite fast. And it helped us to fuel our movement, to create, to push, and to shape Parley. But then we are now creating, together with Julian Schnabel, a space that moves around like a ROV or a tent. It's a pavilion, actually. A pavilion that hosts people, that allows us to bring people together that otherwise wouldn't meet. A circus of ideas, a circus of commitment, a circus of engagement, a circus of collaboration. A home, a mobile home for our movement that can travel from museum to museum, from place to place, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean. But then there is a super ambitious project. And this ambitious project is started in the Maldives. And some owners of an island that were planning to build this luxurious resort, a presidential resort where people could stay for $50,000 per night. They approached us in 2018 and they said, we want to integrate Parley with a little institute on the island. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, we can't do that. We will not help you to justify the destruction of this magic place, but you can help us. You can give us that island and it can become a symbol for Parley, a home for our movement, a place of inspiration. And they did. So Parley Station 1 is this beautiful place in the south of the Maldives, surrounded by a lagoon and close to other islands. On one is a resort, and multiple others are just empty. They wait to be visited, explored by us. And some are not even above water, they're underwater, they're lagoons that are sitting under the surface. And we see all that as a canvas for the future. We see all that as a perfect opportunity to create a life form that coexists between mankind and nature, where we only use the best materials, where we use biofabrication, green chemistry, where we grow buildings, where we actually use electric-powered bows. A place where we test, develop, and showcase how future could look. A non-destructive future. And art will be first. So we're deploying underwater pavilions that were created by Doug Aitken for us, with us. So you can dive down and go into the deep and recalibrate and rethink what the oceans mean to you. Overriding this old idea of the sea where it's just an aquarium and a mermaid passing by. It's a deep space, it's a wonderful universe down there, and we barely know anything about it.
Sorry for the hard cut, but something got missed on the transmission from New York to here. So I can assure you that you heard everything, so there's nothing missing. Don't worry. It was just saying thank you again. But now I would love to show you what is one of our signature projects, I would say, that is a collaboration we had with Doug Aitken on his underwater pavilions, which was shown during his show in 2016 in the MoCA, Los Angeles. So that's a 5-minute film which I would like to be played now, and then we can wrap up a few things visualizing what Cyrill talked about afterwards. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful project, and this is the level of projects we'd love to do, but to get there, a lot of initiatives and a lot of things are needed. So what I would just want to show you quickly is a little bit a wrap-up of what we have done and what is the vision, what Cyrill talked about. Let me see if it works. Yeah. So the Parley Art Foundation is going to be established in the year 2020. Now this year will be the launch, where we try to group together all the things which are related to our art engagements. Besides what you heard, the cleanup coordinations, the material research, these are all different areas of Parley which need a lot of support as well and need a lot of concentrated work on. But as we are coming out of the art, we would love to create this foundation, which was always the motivation for us to work with artists and create things throughout with artists. So Cyrill mentioned the artist edition, which we did. I just want to quickly show you how they looked. This was the work from E.A.T, and that was an edition of 20 artworks he did, 20 sustainable surfboards with sustainable material made. Katarina made 20 different boards. Each one has an individual look. Then we have our main vision is this Parley Station 1, which is existing already. The island is there. We have been there. We have done projects there. It's an unbelievable place where you really experience what nature is about. It's absolutely a luxury moment to be there, but if you look at it from a different perspective, if you look at the bleached corals, if you see all that and you see the healthy wildlife which is also there, you get a much more intense feeling what we are talking about by saving the oceans. So we had done several incentives on the island, which are all part of the Parley Art Foundation with Parley Station 1. We did Parley Ocean School, which is about education. We did art and science gatherings on the island. We did collaboration workshops there already. And we did artist in residence kind of projects. So we had invited some artists with us. That was Julian, in this case, Schnabel. And the vision is that we build on that island. We build buildings, sustainably built buildings, where we could have scientists working, artists in residence living, workshops, and invite brands, invite people to experience this one-of-a-kind moments on this island. This is a project we just saw, Ducks Underwater Pavilions. You see the 3 pavilions there, which are going to be the first installation, which is going to happen this year. So they will be in the Maldives by the end of the year, we hope, transported from Europe over there. And that is the vision, that is an overwater pavilion Duck has created. So this is something we would love to do, we are working on. It's going to be on a lagoon in front of the island. So the island will contain artworks in and around it, on the seaside, in the water, on the island. So it should be a living experience, what we want to create. These are the 4 columns of the Art Foundation, our own collection which we want to build. Parley Station number 1 shouldn't be the last one. We would love to implement 7 of these stations all over the world in the next years. Ocean Assembly is what Cyrill mentioned. The pavilion we are creating in the moment, supposed to be finished by the mid of this year, created by Julian Schnabel and the architectural team from his sources. And our museum partnerships, which started with the MoCA and are ongoing. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attendance, and hope you have some questions, and I'm ready to answer.
Thank you very much, Rainer. Any questions to Parley, to the engagement, to the activities? Yep.
Yes, hello. Thank you. I have a question. What happens now? We heard from Chris and many other people that the fish are very perceptive for noise, for what's happening under the ocean. When you put these art pieces under the ocean,
water.
what happens down there? Are these fish not disturbed?
I think one shouldn't go so far. I mean, obviously we would do the best to protect them, but this is I would say this is a land art project by Duck, and we did the best way to implement it in the water. It was not a noisy experience, so I don't know if the fish mind, but you saw the seal, it didn't mind it so much, I would say.
Yeah, certainly there is space whenever you get engaged and try to do good. You should be sometimes self-critical, and
Absolutely.
yeah, with Doug Aitken, I have also my doubts if that is really a great contribution to raising awareness and changing our situation.
I see. Maybe you're right. I mean, it depends on your opinion on Duck, but the idea was really to bring people into the water. You know, that people, you know, that on the opening there was, the collectors were going into the water, the visitors could go and swim into the water, and I see it like a land art object. I don't see it as a disturbing factor, you know, because you can collect informations with this sculpture, you know, from whatever water temperature connection within the word. But we have scientific approaches with the sculpture as well. So I'm convinced. So give me some more information.
But you have also to agree it's a project for the super rich.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that.
Is it for you and me? Maybe.
Oh, no,
for
we
you
couldn't
than for
afford.
me?
Me neither. But it's not that it has to do with the money in this case. I don't see that to produce it is quite costly, obviously. But it was in his vision as an artist. We know how expensive projects could be from an artist. And for us, it was a great honor to support him and create it together with him for his museum exhibition, which was an extension to the museum. You know, the museum wouldn't be able to fulfill this project, but we did it in collaboration with the museum and him.
Thank you. It's also something I have to admit when I research Parley that is, I think has a very positive effect, which is it makes you aware about all the plastic we're using. And just before we end, I just read also in the context of this research that annually we use 600 billions of coffee lids. You know what it is? These little lids you put on your coffee, you take in a train station. 600 billion, 600 milliarden of these lids are used. So next time you take a coffee, maybe you just don't take the lid. Start small, build it up.
Build it big.